Men who try too hard with women will never get women. Why? It's because when you're dealing, let's say you go to a mall, right? And there's a guy in a kiosk trying to sell you something. The more he pushes you to buy it, the more you get aggravated. Thus, you're not buying his product. Same thing goes when you're dealing in the dating market, right? If a girl sees that you're trying too hard, trying too hard, trying too hard, she sees that you're trying to sell her something, sell her yourself. She doesn't want that. She wants the guy that's more loose, that's more chill, because that way she can be in a relaxed state with him. All right, my G. So once again, aggressive men do not succeed with women because they try too hard. But when you do the opposite, when you don't do so much, when you're not trying to push yourself onto her and you're just keeping it lighthearted, keeping it smooth right there, women will gravitate towards you because once again, women are attracted to the opposite versions of themselves. You see, women are supposed to chase you, but if you're doing the chasing, why would she chase you? Do the math. All right, G. So once again, if you try too hard, women will be repelled by you. But if you do a little bit of the least, and if you keep it more smooth and chill, women will come after you. All right, G? Peace.
Yeah, so he makes a really good point. He makes a really good point. And it has everything to do with confidence, right? It has everything to do with confidence. And we also have to understand that what a woman thinks you think of her is very important to her, right? So it's like this. Think about a person who has been in the desert, let's just say for 40 days and 40 nights, right? So that means he's hungry, he's thirsty. So whatever you give him, he'll take, right? So what I'm saying is when you're looking at a person that is in a desperate position, they'll eat garbage if it's edible. They'll drink whatever liquid you put in front of them as long as it's drinkable. It doesn't have to be clean water. It could be anything as long as it's drinkable. Right. So if somebody's desperate or put themselves in a desperate position, I mean, they're at a disadvantage, then what it is they're looking for, there's no discernment. There's no appreciation for quality. I just need it because I need it. You understand? So when you try too hard and when you act quote unquote thirsty or when you act desperate in front of a woman, it diminishes her perception of your confidence. It diminishes her perception of your ability to have discernment and your ability to choose quality. You understand? So basically, when you act desperate, she sees you as a person that will choose anything. So your choosing of her doesn't constitute her being special. Do you understand? However, if you're a person who you haven't been in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, right? You live in a lap of luxury. You always have access to clean water. You always have access to good food, right? So that means when somebody puts food in front of you, you're able to pick, choose, and refuse what you like and what you don't like. And if you know what you like and what you don't like, that means you're able to choose quality and you're able to make a conscious decision and a very discriminating and discerning decision on what you want, on what you desire. So when you are confident and you choose that woman, you choose to go up to that woman, it says something about your choice of quality. So the woman looks at the confident man is like, okay, well, he's choosing to come up and talk to me. And he seems to be the type of guy that has access to other attractive women. So the fact that he's choosing to talk to me means in her mind that she thinks that that man is choosing her because she's actually special. Again, what a woman thinks of what a man thinks is more important to that woman. This is why the woman loves to choose the top 20% of men, right? This is why women love to choose the quote, especially in the internet space, the quote unquote high value man, right? This is why the woman, they naturally go after the taller guys. They naturally go after the guys that have money. They naturally go after the guys that have a lot of confidence. And they naturally go after the men who have a masculine identity. Because universally, when you know who you are and you are confident in who you are, when you choose something, it is because you are choosing it specifically because it is congruent or it is aligned with your masculine identity. And when a woman sees that type of confidence on a man, she knows that he is choosing her because there is something special about her. This is the difference between the desperate guy or the thirsty guy or the nice guy who's people pleasing and seeking validation, and the guy with confidence, the guy with a masculine identity, the rich guy, the good looking guy, whatever you want to call it, right? And I'm not speaking about this from a looks, money, status point of view per se. I'm just saying that the guy who carries himself as if he is in an advantaged position will be more successful and give off the energy of confidence than the guy who's desperate, the guy who is seeking validation from being with women and all that other stuff. The guy with no masculine identity, the guy with no confidence, the guy who's desperate. This is the difference. So, for example, there are guys who approach women and all they can do is talk about how hot or sexy she is, or, ooh, I'm trying to hit that and this, that, and the third. And depending on the way they articulate themselves, they may sound desperate as opposed to sounding cool, calm, and collected and just know what they want. There's a difference. There's a difference between a guy who, for example, has been in some sort of a drought. Maybe he hasn't had sex in a while and he's just all over this chick, and all he can really talk about is her physicality, and he has a desperate energy about him. So the woman knows that that man is not making the choice to talk to her because he thinks there's something special about her. He's making the choice to talk to her because he's desperate for sex. When you give off that energy, a lot of times the women can detect it, and they know that there's nothing that the man thinks is special about them, which turns them off immediately. You understand? That type of energy will turn her off because she knows you are not speaking to her because of anything specific or any valid reason that speaks to your masculine identity. You're speaking to her because you are desperate. Okay. But when there's a guy that goes up to a woman, he has a certain level of confidence. He knows what he wants because it is aligned with his masculine identity. He knows what he wants because he has been around a lot of beautiful women. And when he sees a specific woman that he finds attractive, he has a certain energy that he gives off when he actually speaks to that woman. So what it might look like is he might have a more specific conversation with that woman. So, for example, instead of just going up to her and making a big deal about how cute she is, right? He might be a little bit more specific, and he might say, you know what? I came over here to talk to you because you're wearing this particular scarf, or you're wearing this particular color, or I noticed that you carry yourself in this way, or I noticed this accessory about you, or I noticed that your shoes or your posture or the way that you speak or the way that you carry yourself indicates to me that you have a certain special thing about you. Or that man might even, instead of going up and giving her a compliment directly, he might just start talking about something that he knows that they might have in common just based on the environment or the situation. So within the context, the man is not making a big deal about her looks. He's more making a big deal about a shared connection, right? Because when she looks at how the man approached her, she realizes that the man and his masculine identity is the most important thing about him, and that the man is expressing and articulating himself based on his masculine identity and the shared connection that they have. And so to her, that's not the energy of a desperate man. That's the energy of a man who knows who he is. And that's the energy of a man who is confident. And that's the energy of a man who is focused on the things that he's interested in, the things that he's passionate about. You understand? He's focused on himself. He's focused on his masculine identity. And that projects more confidence. That projects more discernment. That projects more of a discriminate taste. So him choosing to go talk to her means something more in the eyes of that female. Okay, so this is what having a masculine identity and being confident, being calm, and showing confident energy is all about, right? Showing your masculine identity, where it's not about being desperate. It's not about being lustful and horny. It's about choosing to engage with someone because of what I'm interested in, not having anything to do with the woman, but having more to do with me, the man, and what I find interesting and what I find attractive, and not just her face or her body, but something I find attractive about a shared connection, like the reason why we're both in this venue, or based on something that she might be wearing, or some type of cultural affect about her outfit or the way she carries herself, or something that's way more specific than just the average, hey, I came over here to talk to you because you're cute, or hey, I came over here to talk to you because I find you attractive. You understand? Like, you have to understand, guys, that when you say certain phrases and words, some things show a very general, non-specific energy, and other things show a very specific and unique energy. And it's the things that are specific and unique that have more of an impact, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time and you're trying to show someone that you find them attractive. So guys, understand that focusing on your masculine identity, right? Focusing on the specific things about yourself and what you might see in a woman when you meet or engage with her verbally, those give more of an effective impression on the woman, right? Because what she thinks you think of her based on your masculine identity is the most important thing when it comes to her ego and her confidence. Okay. So when you approach her with a non-desperate and more specific and unique and discriminate energy, it gives you a better chance of making a connection based on your masculine identity. All right, so it's your boy, Miles Cunningham. Hope you got some from this video. Hope you're having a great day. Be good to yourself, be grateful, and remember, the truth is inside you. Peace.